Wedding preparations are typically defined by the emotional milestones of the ceremony. However, marriage establishes a significant legal and financial relationship, impacting your separate assets. Managing these risks requires a methodical plan before the ceremony takes place. The objective is to establish a prenuptial agreement that is legally binding and strictly enforceable under California state law. Before drafting a single page, you need 3 things in place: completely open communication, full access to both partners' financial documents, and plenty of time before the actual wedding date. Rushing this process is a direct threat to the document's validity. Establishing this legal framework well in advance removes ambiguity. This preparation provides you with the structural security needed to start your marriage with absolute clarity. Step 1 is the legal setup. Each partner must hire their own individual attorney, who is specifically licensed to practice law in California. It might be tempting to share a single lawyer to save time or cut costs. Doing so is a critical mistake that can easily render the entire agreement void. California courts heavily scrutinize these contracts. Requiring independent counsel is the primary way the court verifies that both people entered into the agreement voluntarily and fully understood the terms they were signing. By putting separate advocates in your corners, you eliminate any potential conflict of interest. The result is a balanced, highly enforceable contract tailored to protect both parties. Step 2 requires both partners to be entirely transparent by building a comprehensive financial profile. This chart categorizes disclosure. On the left, list positive assets like real estate and investments. On the right, list all debts. If you conceal even a single debt, you compromise the entire structure. California requires absolute financial disclosure for the document to hold up. Total transparency acts as the load-bearing pillar of your prenup. Without it, the agreement cannot withstand a future legal challenge. Step 3 is the negotiation phase, where you define the ongoing financial rules of the marriage. This process involves sorting property into 2 categories. Separate property, assets owned before the marriage or inherited, belongs in the individual bucket. Community property, acquired jointly during the marriage, belongs in the shared bucket. Your prenup lets you specifically define which assets go where. Next, you map out your ongoing obligations. You need to agree on whether spousal support will be set for a certain period, capped at a specific amount, or waived entirely. You also specify exactly who is responsible for paying off specific debts. You then decide the fate of the marital home, whether it is sold, transferred, or used by one spouse if a divorce or death occurs. You also outline strategies for how income and expenses are allocated if you file taxes jointly. You can even include a sunset provision. This is a built-in expiration date that terminates the agreement after a certain number of years, or following a major life event like the birth of a child. By systematically working through these decisions, you draft a customized, binding financial constitution that governs your shared future. Step 4 is drafting the document and running an audit to ensure California law compliance. This checklist outlines structural mandates. It must be written, signed voluntarily without coercion, and structurally fair. California requires adequate review time before the wedding date. Rushed eve of ceremony signings are vulnerable. Finally, it cannot violate public policy, like punishing infidelity, which sinks the entire contract. Rigorously adhering to this specific state checklist immunizes your contract, protecting it from being invalidated in a future courtroom. You secure separate attorneys, execute a flawless financial disclosure, carefully negotiate your property terms, and audit for state compliance. If you're already married, these principles apply immediately by creating a postnuptial agreement. It follows the same rules of voluntary disclosure and independent counsel, just executed after the vows. The best next step is scheduling a completely free legal consultation with Cyrus Pacific Law. Their team will evaluate your specific circumstances and start drafting a framework tailored to your situation. Finalizing this document establishes a proactive framework for your shared financial future,